With the Naples trip now done, it's time to hop on the train to Rome. And this was incredibly terrifying and stressful because the gate or platform only appeared like 9 minutes before it was meant to go, and I had no idea how big the station was. And I realised pretty quickly, walking down the platform, that the first class carriages were all the way at the bottom of this really long train. So that's why you'll hear I'm out of breath by the time I actually get to my seat. I booked first class for the trip to Rome simply because I was so looking forward to this, and I really wanted to enjoy the train ride, and it was lovely. Trying to be a proper travel vlogger, I guess, showing the table fold out extension USB because my phone was absolutely dying. It's like a proper plug socket, bin, I don't know, everything you expect of a goddamn seat train. You could recline the seats, which I'm trying to show, but camera work is obviously not my thing. Tons of legroom, doesn't many people. I got free food. It was included like a sandwich and a cookie and a wipe. And it was actually really delicious. So enjoy the footage of me, for some reason, spending a minute recording myself eating it. The bathroom was just, it's just a train bathroom. Like, it was nice enough. It was okay. I couldn't work out how things worked. You had to actually press the buttons on top. But I'm an idiot, so yeah. Finally, I arrive in the Roma Termini station. I've been here so many times by now, and it becomes nostalgic each time. And I actually really like the station, despite how like dodgy and packed it is sometimes. And as you go outside, the very first thing you ever see when you get out is the Roman wall. I am so excited to be back. You have no idea. We passed the Baths of Diocletian, which I remember having an absolute freak out about first time I was in Rome, because I was like, what do you mean there's just Roman baths right outside the station? This is me heading to my hostel. I did not get any footage of what the room looked like because there was already 7 other girls in it, and I didn't want to disturb anyone. But it was really nice. It was the Yellow Square hostel. Immediately, I just hopped on the metro and I went to the Colosseum, as you do. And I decided that while I was here, I would go get myself a bottle of wine, pour it into my water bottle, and do a full sweep around the Roman Forum. So this is the Circus Maximus with the Roman Palace of the Emperors behind me. So Caracalla was stabbed here. All of the emperors lived here. This was also where you had chariot races. You can't see it very well in the dark, but it was cold, misty, and I was drinking so much wine. This is my favourite spot in all of Rome because there's a wall that I always sit perched upon and no one ever bothers you at, and you can just kind of enjoy the view of the Roman Forum. Camera does a terrible job of picking it up, but it was really surreal to just be sat here in the dark when there's literally no one about, because it's dark, it's late, it's cold. It's absolutely incredible. My friend the seagull, who will make multiple different reappearances. I love how they light up the Colosseum at night. So, on to the first day, I make my way to the central station, past the Bath of Diocletian again. After getting a McDonald's, because I had a lot of McDonald's on this trip, I went to the Vatican because I remember that on Wednesdays, the Pope comes out. I thought it was really funny. There's just McDonald's outside of it as well. Like, yes, the holy McDonald's. I actually don't know if these walls are like the border to Vatican City. I assume they are, but it's quite bigger than I thought in that case. But yeah, bird. The lovely view of St. Peter's Basilica on the walk up towards the Vatican.
Boas-vindas aos peregrinos de língua portuguesa.
And here's the Pope, just right in his little Pope-mobile. He actually got a lot closer than this, but my phone ran out of storage at that exact point and did not save the video. Like, he was right where the line of people starts. After the Vatican, I went to the Spanish Steps because I realised I'd never actually seen them from the bottom. I'd been at the top before. Then I got off at the station there and I was like, yep, it's steps. With all the beautiful archaeology, why is a set of stairs like the big tourist thing that people go and do? I'm going to assume it's movie related, but you can see that Rome is very decked out for Christmas. It's very cute. There's a mix of like cute tinsel and like modern art stuff. This is another tree that had a bunch of wishes scrawled over it as well. Arriving in the Piazza Navona, I actually get to see all of the fountains this time because last time I went, everything was being cleaned up for the Jubilee year and these fountains were all covered. So this is actually my first time seeing this one. Got my man Poseidon over there. This statue is very significant because it is a Egyptian obelisk on top of it, and the river is meant to represent papal dominion over the 4 rivers over the world. So there's the Nile for Africa, the Danube for Europe, the Ganges for Asia, and the Rio de Plata for Americas. I went into the church that you can see behind the river fountain, and this was actually my favourite church that I'd visited on this trip because I love the 3D effect in some of the Roman churches, but also this one was very focused on a lot of female saints, which you don't see quite often. It also featured above the church's little nativity here. My favourite saint, even as an atheist, I do have a favourite, and it's San Sebastian, who was a Roman soldier, and I love this imagery of him. This is where there was a sad mime just walked into the middle of the piazza, and I was here for another half an hour. He spent that whole time trying to wave people over as an audience, and no one came. And it was just, it was really sad to watch. I believe the statue in this church must be of Joan of Arc. And then, of course, the Pantheon, which always is bigger in person than in my memory, or the way it was in Assassin's Creed 2 whenever I would spend all my time hanging out in front of it and climbing to the top. And Trevi Fountain, busy as ever. I already got my pictures at it ages ago, so I never need to go back again. It's kind of hell moving through here, even though it is pretty. Here we have the Market of Trajan, which is on the other side of the forum, which I still haven't gotten down into yet. Definitely to put on my list for next time. I made my way to walk through. I really like this bit because it shows you something interesting about reconstruction. You can clearly see on the columns here as they're remaking it, which they did not have last time I was here, the parts which are authentic and the parts which are filled in. Rome does a really good job kind of showing you the bits that are added. Obviously the marble's all new, it's meant to be a representation of what there was, but yeah, it's all the pieces on the ground are the bits that should be there or that they're working out how to put in. This mile of road is interesting because I like it a lot because you can really walk through the centre of the Forum, but also it was made by Mussolini, so ups and downs, pros and cons. Really lovely view of the Colosseum at the end though. This building is really relevant for Percy Jackson fans. It's the building that in the books houses the statue of Athena, and Percy and Annabeth fall through the floor into Tartarus. Here I am, my favourite spot in the whole world, just chilling, watching the sunset. With my little seagull friend, which I am not entirely convinced isn't a Roman god. He sat there for a while, just side-eyeing me. The Capitoline Hill is all done up for Christmas, which is really nice. We have the lovely statue of Marcus Aurelius. Love this view with the Capitol monument and the sun hitting all of the roofs, though I find a much better place to watch the sunset the day after this. See the pink light hitting the Colosseum. Literally just zoomed in on this one because it looked like something out of Assassin's Creed that I'd synchronize from. I think these are new because I don't remember seeing them before, but it's a representation of the growth of the Roman Empire, which is so cool. I believe it might be part of their new metro station they're setting up. We can see, once I got to the terminal station after the metro, you can see the starlings going insane. At this point, my dad on the phone to me said that it sounded like I was next to running water because all you could hear were these starlings in the trees next to me, and it's just the sky is black with them. But going into the next day, I once again got a McDonald's, took the metro to the Spanish station, and decided I was going to spend my morning eating in the Villa Borghese. I had no clue where I was going. I just ended up next to a bunch of roads and having to navigate my way across them. But you can see in this one the Roman wall, the limits of the city, which do still wrap around the entire Roman city, modern city itself. The Borghese Gardens are absolutely beautiful, especially at this time in the morning when there's absolutely no one about. This view is absolutely surreal, with the water cascading off of the shrine to Asclepios, who's the god of medicine and healing. Uh, in summer, you could take the wee boat out and circle around this. There are tons of cute wee ducks, and I ate my McDonald's croissant here. You can get up around the back of the shrine as well, and it looks equally beautiful from back here. I will assume there is more to this fountain in summer. So now we entered the Piazza del Popolo, and this was the city gates back in the Renaissance, I think a bit earlier. Coming into the church on the square, there were people singing, and being not religious and not Catholic, I had no idea what to do. So I just stood at the back with my hands awkwardly clasped and waited for them to finish so I could go and have a look at the paintings. I love the Piazza del Popolo square. I don't think you need to say square with piazza, but there's a beautiful fountain of Neptune on one side, which I don't get a close-up of, but I love sitting at it when I was there in summer. And these are the twin churches, which aren't entirely twin because they're just a little bit different. This one had screens inside, which I thought was interesting. Very modern approach to it, given what other churches in Rome were like. The other one was much darker. But this one also had some modern art, and one of which is a gun. I don't know why Jesus is pulling a Glock on me. We see here is the mausoleum of the Emperor Augustus, so it's where he would have been buried. And this is a recreation of his Arapakis, which is basically everything great I've done ever. And as you can see by the size of it, he's a very humble boy. This is the point where I ran into two older gay gentlemen from Drogheda, and they were absolutely lovely, and of everyone they could have asked for help, they asked the random Northern Irish person, and they were so nice. They told me about the cat sanctuary here, and I told them about my degree and the fact that, you know, Caesar was stabbed here in that exact little space there. Et tu, Brute. And it's probably a good thing that he was, because I fully maintain Caesar could not have achieved what Augustus did. And here we have some cats that I choose to believe are them in another life, probably. Since I was checked out of my hostel, but I was really sleepy, I went back to my spot, and there's the seagull again for a third day. And I just had a nap under the sun. It was nice. For my final act before going to the train to the airport, I decided to climb the Capitol Monument and pay my way up. Here we have some guards and a flame burning, which I don't know if there is significance to it, but it just made me think of the eternal flame of Rome. I paid €18 to go up, which I spent like 10 minutes regretting until I realized I could use it to take the glass elevator up and for an even better view. So it does end up being worth every penny, and it's beautiful up in this bit. You get a really good view of the Market of Hadrian here. Also a thing you can see in Assassin's Creed. This is the glass elevator you can take up all the way to the top, and this is one of the highest points in all of Rome. I don't know if it's the highest point, but certainly the highest I could get to, and you could see everything. You could see St. Peter's, you see the Pantheon, you see the Villa Borghese, just a big amount of trees. It's absolutely beautiful, and I just sat up there and I watched the sunset, and it was amazing. Joined by another seagull, and I was definitely listening to the Assassin's Creed soundtrack at this point. I'd had the thought while I was up here about people like to write ghost stories about like Victorian London and stuff, but why does nobody think about the ghosts of people from ancient Rome? Like, where are they now? So what's the Temple of Hera? Right there. Right here I got to be right beside, and I sort of put my hands on this church, but this church was once a temple to Hera, which I feel like I've never, in my whole time traveling Greece and Rome, never gotten too close to her temples. This is inside the Capitol monument as you go down. Very white, very neoclassical, very beautiful. The starlings are at it again. You can see they're going to make a little heart, and I thought about the thing I was thinking on the roof about the souls of ancient Rome. I like to think that this is them dancing in the sky. And finally, in the airport, they had some archaeology to send me off with.